I'm back live now, trying to get to the live action in the chat. Here we go. It shows already. Let me see. Let me see. Here we go. Okay, well, what can I say? I watched UFC main card this morning from Vietnam. For us, that was the morning. The sound seems to be all right as far as this thing shows me. I'm also going to continue working on my painting. So why not? I just decided to make it kind of pause. I'll pause quite frequently because today I'm just gonna work on it, digitalizing the other side. I think that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. And man, I have my own impressions regarding the first Paramount Plus event of the UFC 324. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. Have a nice day. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. All right. Let's see. More people gonna come in here. I'm gonna readjust the camera a little bit. When is the fight? It already happened, and the main fight was quite impressive. Paddy Pinklet was not a heavy favorite, but he was a slight favorite. But we'll see how the fight went. Honestly, I was cheering for Justin Gagey. There were a couple controversial moments, though I gotta mention it. However, it was clear he was dismantling him from the beginning. So yeah, we can talk about that. Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, that angle is better. Seems like I have a chat here. I'm gonna switch to my reference. So every now and then, I'm just gonna go back to the picture and do a little bit of work. But yeah, guys, feel free to. Well, I don't know how it's gonna work to combine topics. If I end up talking too much about it and doing less work, well, at least I show off my painting. But yeah, I think the main event, and it's been like one of there was some time that the prelim fights will be more impressive because their people are coming up, right? So they have a lot of to prove. So the most entertaining fights would come from the prelims. I didn't watch prelims. All I know that Nurmagomedov won. Umar, he won the submission from the prelim card, and then the main card started. I watched all the fights, but one of the reasons Justin Gaethje is, I think, fighter's favorite fighter because he's definitely called highlight for a reason. Um, yeah, and that fight definitely deserved the best fight of the night. Yes, I'm married. Thank you, though. Okay. All right. So what do we have here? Um, I'm gonna start preparing the thing. Basically the materials and whatever I have, whatever I'm gonna need to paint. We still have a chat on, so feel free to ask the questions. Definitely have some water. Stay hydrated. Oh, hello, hello. Well, I'm gonna check my emails But as I said, I'm letting you know, guys. Don't try to send me anything weird or anything controversial. My husband is checking emails first, so just letting you know. Okay, so I have napkins here, wet wipes, very good for the oil paints. Basically, these are the paints, just three basic colors. So the gray I barely used. I used it just for the foundation. Mostly, I'm playing around with white and black. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Hello from India, Korea, the other parts of the world, wherever you're from. In United States, it's nighttime now, so I don't think a lot of people watched the fight and they just went to bed. I don't have the palette, so I'm just using plate since it's not that many colors anyways, and it's just easy to maintain. I'm using the plate. Yeah, thank you. It's getting there. So this half, as you can see, is more detailized. Now I'm gonna work on the other side. So basically, try to finish up the face, but there is always more. Like I would add more dark features and all that kind of stuff. So we have brushes. I think I forgot the cup, but that's okay. I'm gonna use. So I have dissolving liquid. Basically, it's sort of an oil. You can all here's the little tip. You can use regular cheap oil for paintings. However, if you're doing more of the black and white, if you don't want too much of the yellow edge color, yeah, you better use a specific liquid. Some of them, more expensive ones, are literally white and they don't leave any color. More blue to get a little bit more shiny. Well, this one is the idea is to keep it black and white. It's also for me, it's just getting used to getting back to oil paints. Obviously, when you have more colors, it becomes more complex. This one gonna be black and white, like a graphic effect, and might be I might add some golden colors in the eyes and some detail that's gonna be all around here. But yeah, other than that, it's just yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this brush. From next week, getting back to training. By the way, finally, I'm over off everything. First, I had a flu. Then my channel got hijacked, and I got it back. Then I had some sort of food poisoning, like stomach bug, a couple days ago. Didn't feel great, but yeah, it's like kind of one thing upon another. More excuses. It's not good, but finally, it seems like, and I'm desperate to get back into training. Oh, you're an artist too. Dragon tattoo. Thank you, appreciate it. And yes, I am an artist actually. I decided to show more of that, but that doesn't mean that the training live streams aren't going to be there. Starting from the next week, at least 3 times per week, it's going to be purely boxing, my boxing training. I'm from Georgia, by the way. I'm from Georgia, the country, the same country as Murad Balashvili and really Victoria's originally, and also Miguel Katz and Romando Lises. So those guys, they're from the same country as I am. Like, there are any Georgians? Gamarjoba. წარმატებებს გისურვებთ და მიხარია რომ აქ ხართ. Okay. Is that my face? You mean the painting? No, it's not. Okay, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna put it plate like this. I'm gonna put black and white, just apply it here. So this is how you do in oil painting. So just take this black, squid it out like this. It doesn't have to be big white tube because it's you're gonna always need the white. There we go. Put them on the opposites just to be able to mix there in between. Damn, you're talented. Someone called me a Renaissance woman, so yeah. When if I do well in the pro boxing, actually that will be fun. You know, being able to do different forms of art successfully, and keep growing in it and getting better and better. That's quite encouraging. So, guys, yeah, what do you think about UFC 324? Also, the other fights. I think Jean Silva did well. I think after Pimblet versus Gagey fight in the main card at least. Jean Silva versus Arnold Allen was good. Like Jean showed that he's tough mentally, and after losing first round, he turned the tables around. That was good, and yeah, I was happy to see that. Rose Namajunas, I don't know what's going on. Some people speculate it's like related with her husband since he became her coach and stuff. Her downfall started, and well, if that's true, not good. But yeah, she definitely seems to be past her prime when it comes to fighting. However, it was not very super dominant from Natalie Silva's side either, and she admitted that. Because the Rose, no matter what, even if she's not that dominant anymore, Rose is one of the fighters that's like hard to approach. Well, sometimes it's just difficult to approach, find the distance, find the groove with the fighter, and that's good. That's a good thing. But yeah, Rose haven't been. She was focusing on the countering mostly and not letting her Natalie in. But at the same time, she didn't really do any damage. And well, then Natalie managed to do some takedowns and still apply some punches and some good kicks. So and well, Derek Lewis versus Cortez Acosta. I don't know, man. Okay, let me see the chat. Hachapuri. Hachapuri is the one of the most famous Georgian dishes, like so you know guys. Hachapuri. Think you like to talk? Definitely I do. However, I can listen as well. But when I live stream, definitely I talk. I want to see you in the television as fighting. Well, hopefully the boxing goes well. You know, I'm in the preparational phase, still getting into groove, but it's just stage after stage. So we shall see that. Okay, so thinking to I'll use another table too. Just 1 second. I gotta roll in this one. I think that works well. There we go. Maybe a bit closer. Hello, hello. Good to see you guys. Okay, now I can see the chat and technically I can see the reference as well. Painting or cooking, you have staying creative too. Well, I'm good at painting, but cooking, fighting and cooking, the first person comes up is Alexander Volkanovski. It's brilliant. Like he has a very successful cooking channel actually. Can I call you Red Hat? Sure. You can I love seeing you kinder. Me being since I'm painting, I'm kinder, not so intense or anything, right? Yeah, I'll do this now. Anyway, taking the middle-sized brush here and gonna start working on this half of the face. I was using graining technique to give the skin a little bit of texture. It's not very detailed, but it creates the the graininess of the skin, and obviously it still has to be there's some darker shades and some lighter bleaks net and needs to be added up, like highlights. Let's see you work. Okay, let's do it. Since I forgot the cup, I'm just gonna put it in the court like this, and that's pretty much enough for this side of the size of the painting. Put it here. Okay, I'm gonna have to switch to the reference for a second at least. Justin versus Ilian in the White House. Um, well, that's the thing. I love Justin. I was very happy. Like he's definitely tough. He's very, very tough, and his boxing is on point. However, like you see what he did. Like he could actually finish Paddy in the first and second round. There were like a couple eye pokes, which was it was not intentional. It was basically a fist and a combo, but we cannot say that it didn't happen. Also, the the below belt knees in the referee didn't really pay attention, and Paddy definitely was not in a good position when it comes to that. But even before that, from the first round, before those things happened, you could see Justin outclassed Paddy not only with his style, but also his experience and his pressure and toughness and being able to take punches. So, however, when it comes to Gage versus Sarukian, Gage versus Tapuria, it's harder. He first of all, he comparing to those two, he's older, and we just saw that Paddy at this point is not as good to be able to deal with a really experienced fighters like Gagey, potentially Holloway and Oliveira. I think Paddy would lose to all this streak. But then we have Armand Tarakian and Tapuria, who had a convincing or at least decision victory against few of those. Yeah, Gagey didn't fight neither of those, but both Tapuria fought Holloway and Oliveira, right? And both hold knockouts. And Tarakian won or was Oliveira or with was it decision? I think it was decision. So when it comes to that, essentially we're gonna end up with Sarman versus Taporia. That's my opinion. Yeah, just 1 second. Nice tattoo. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, let me look at the reference for quick. So I need to look at the reference. Yeah, a lot of dark shades. I'm gonna start applying. I'm gonna mix the colors, and I'm gonna make a middle shade when it comes to the drawing. So I'm mixing it here, like this. Okay, it's like a grayish color, and yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna start making it darker in the neutral transitioning part. It's gotta be. It's gonna get darker in this area generally. You can use a little bit of dissolving liquid. It also works as a good softener. It softens the paint and makes it more fluid and mixable. This side is generally actually darker than this one, so I will have to tone down a lot of whites here. Like this. First of all, I'm gonna use harder strokes for now, and then I'm gonna use the grading technique here as well. Okay. The direction of the strokes is also it matters because it's gonna determine the shape, the light, the angles, the round areas, right? So if I just go with the one stroke, it's not gonna be as good. Here we'll also go darker. There's nothing risky about that. It looks like a little bit risky, but I can see clearly always just, you see, add up some black and it's gonna go, it gets darker, right? So be careful with that. It's better to start lighter. Always add up that dark shade or black on top. Let me get back to chat while I'm doing that because I pretty much have a reference now. So what do we have here? Okay, you just drawing the perfectly fine drawing. Well, I created it, so we shall see what's the end result. There's nothing, not a thing in painting as ruining because you can actually, like, I could apply the layer and redraw the whole thing and apply more layers. It's just almost infinite. You know what I mean? So now we are working on the detailization, and this side has to be darker. So just that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be darker, and now we're gonna start applying some more of the blacks around this area. But the middle tone has to be darker too. There we go. There's charge bells here. It's definitely, this is also a darker shade. There's shadow. Well, guys, feel free to ask those questions regarding the painting and regarding my opinions on the UFC events that already happened. This is Las Vegas, I think. Okay. Hey, what's up? The right eye is elongated. You're completely correct. This one is also elongated, but now we're gonna start detailizing these. It's gonna change and it's gonna align with the well, how it basically supposed to be. We'll look at the reference again. So here we don't even have that much curve, so it's gonna get quite dark in this area. Not all the cheekbones has to be round in this area. It depends on the how the light comes up. So basically, that's the area. That's the only area that has to be uh, lighter. Other than that, all of that is gonna go quite shadowy. There we go. Also this. Sometimes I gotta get up and look at the yeah. So look how it goes. Okay. All right. So pretty much here. I'm gonna want this part to be raised up a little bit. Second. Wet wipes. Let me look at the chat now. In the end, it's going to be more of like this side. So it's already quite detailized. I can show you the a difference. So let's see. See, this is more texture here. And here we're just making the right tone and the shade. Because you see, it gotta be quite dark, except the eye, so the center of the eye is gonna be quite prominent, but it needs to be shadowed even more, because now it looks a little bit unnatural. Like this one, you see there's the eyelashes as well. Lips and nose also has to be detailized. So all right, here we go. I'm just using a bigger brush for it now, and I'm still not going black. The reason is because I'm gonna first work on this lighter area. I'm gonna make sure that it's acceptable, and then I can work apply the darkest shades, basically apply the black. I have an Instagram. You can check it in my YouTube bio. How long have you been painting? Longer than doing martial arts or anything else. I basically just started. I would. I was like 2 years old. I took the pencil, the paper, and then I would doodle like as a 2 year old. But then I asked to get me some colored pencils and that kind of stuff. By the time I was 6, I was definitely drawing better than kids my age. Then I was put in an art gymnasium with part time with the school. So I would go to the public sort of ghetto school in the daytime, and then after I would go to the art school. I wasn't going full time because I would appear, do the arts, disappear, and especially when I was a teenager. By that time, I already knew all the basics, the academical knowledge that helps you to basically build the composition of the art. And then by the time I was like 14, 15, I started doing karate, and then I moved to boxing. Here was the trick. I chose sports at that period because that was hard. I haven't been told that I'm like a prodigy and talented. In the art school, I would just finish uh, some work within hours when others took days, and I would disappear. But I wasn't just lazy or like doing nothing. At that time, I would train. I would go to gym. I would train. So I remember my art teachers would be like, "Oh, you're so talented, but you're lazy." And it's like, how do I explain to them? I mentioned once a boxing training. I think I was already boxing at the time, and they were like, one of my teachers was very dramatic about it. Um, Karate and boxing. Greetings from Turkey. Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, but now I'm getting back to it because now as an adult, I want to create more of the pieces. I'm looking forward to do something interesting that's gonna be entangled like boxing, martial arts, and the artwork. Like find the something that is common between those two. Um, but yeah, anyways, I shall continue. Now they thought you should be spending every living waking moment on art, right? Yeah, that's true. That's how it was. And I don't blame them because that's what they've been doing all their life. But it just happened to be I'm not multi-direction. I'm not single directional. Both sports and martial arts slash combat sports and art, and now music and singing has very important part in my life, and it's just part of me. Okay, I'm gonna look at the reference. Feel free to have a conversation in the chat, but so I'll just show you the reference for people thinking that I might be ruining it, but it's literally that's the effect I want to be. Even here, I'm gonna add more black. It's gotta be dark. And this side is darker because it's more in the shade. So let's look at the, want to look at that eye here. Yeah, it's barely visible. You can literally see. I might not, like, I like a little bit of glowing eyes effect, so I might not make it as dark as it's in the reference picture. But I'm gonna start taming it down already. In this case, when it's very shadowy, you can add some bleaks later, and it's gonna be fine. Still using the middle-sized brush. Okay. All right. Now it's time, I think, to use. Let me just look from the back for 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Let's get it there. Just needs to be a little bit shade down. Daenerys Targaryen. I don't know where that came from. Okay, I'm gonna put this brush temporarily away. I don't really need it right now anymore. It's gonna be more texture. Just let it lighter side a little bit more. Yeah. Other than that, this is this is done. It's acceptable. Oh, hello. Okay, so now I'm taking a small brush like this. Okay, small brush. It's not the smallest one, but it's good enough for detailization, at least in my opinion. I mean, I'm not very patient when it comes to details, but I definitely try to create something that is going to be more detailized this time. So now I'm going to apply black. Also, don't forget that there's going to be more of there's going to be some eyelashes too, even though it's barely visible. Maybe some white highlights to create that impression that there's, like, obviously it's not just a naked eye. But for now, we just get it basically all around here. It has to be dark. Okay, now it's getting more even with the other eye. Also looks proportional. It doesn't have to be perfectly, how do you call that? It doesn't have to be perfectly aligned either. None of us has a perfect proportional faces. However, it has to be put correctly in the perspective. Okay, I'm gonna look at the chat quickly. Let's see how it looks from. It actually looks good. Let's see. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Thank you very much. How long have you been painting? Uh, all my life. I started it since I was like 2 years old. Then six. Then I went fifth grade. I think it was like around 10, 11. Went into an art school. Got some academical knowledge. So yeah, basically that's my background in arts. and I've been quite a fast learner when it comes to the painting. Like when it comes to boxing and mixed martial arts and sports that I tried, I can tell that I had to learn tough ways. I had to learn, practice. I wasn't the most talented back then. I didn't have maybe even full understanding how it should work. And even now, I'm like exploring and gradually leveling up. When it comes to art, it was way easier for me. So now here we need to add way more blacks. It's literally all dark here, and I'm quite confident just because I see what has to be done here. And well, here I can already start adding some graining technique, which I like. It doesn't have to be in the darker shades because that's more solid. But here I'm creating, since it's already quite dark, I want like this more even darker. And then mixing up with greening like this. Also, we're not to put in the consideration that there's gonna be like a blot on the top. So a lot of stuff is gonna be added even after the skin, the basic skin layout gonna be done. I'm gonna add up more. That's why we in oil paintings at least you gotta paint with layers, layer after layer. It already looks okay. And even you see it's even darker, but that's okay because it's a graining technique. I can mix it up with the lighter shades too, and it's not gonna look bad at all. This is actually quite. This is the lightest part here, technically. So still a lot of texture. Okay, back to the chat. Gonna look at it. What art school did you go? Well, it's back in Georgia, Tbilisi. It's called. I forgot after which person was called, but we would call it Sayurme Art Music Academy. So it was like two directions. Some people would do both. So they had like a solfeggio and piano and some even some vocal. I never did music training there at all, but I would go to the art sector. And yeah, that's how we would call Sayurme. It was like like a hill, like a street name, and we just call it Sayume Art and Music Academy. Gymnasium, sorry. It's a and it was part time. It was not. It wasn't giving you a middle school or high school education. It was focusing on the art. However, if you wanted to go to college after in the art directions, that was very strong, good portfolio. Like be attending and being accepted in that school. Adding some lighter texture into because we don't want that shade to be flat. We want it transitioning, right? So it's just at this point here, it's just a mix of the shades. Okay, it already looks okay. Dragon Warrior and Dragon Tattoo. Thanks. Yeah, it's a cool tattoo. Look at this reference again. So here we have well basically this actually is quite light. I'm gonna add more dark just in the edge. Like this. Now, so this is where the lighter part gonna end, and it's gonna be a little bit like sharp black shadow. And then this side part of the face, there's going to be a lot of black. And that's actually here. I'm also going to add more of it. This part is still too light. This has to be the background needs another layer of black, like more solid. So we want to create that depth, and you do that through the shadows. Okay. So here already using graining. You see how nicely it transits? Just create a very natural transition. That's one of the techniques. That's not how you have to do necessarily, but I think it creates quite a realistic effect. Okay, this is also dark, so I'm gonna go dark here, like starting interesting. Yep, I already like how it looks in the video though. I like that it goes all naturally dark and it just aligns here. Some people think that might think that I'm going too aggressive here, but there is an actual quite a dark shadow right in the middle here. So might not do as dark as it's in the reference. Sometimes you gotta improvise with the with your own perspective. You know, you see you follow the blueprint, but then you're like, okay, no, maybe I do it a little bit lighter, and it just has a better effect. Under the nose, we definitely have this. See? And then all of a sudden I switch technique. And it's this nice smooth transition here. Same I'm gonna do here as well. The middle shadow, when it's just creates more of the roundedness, not just a flat transition. Here we go. I don't have the most accurate or most precise graining technique because I don't bother really. Like the more realistic you want to make it in details, then you have to go and there's some hyper realistic artists who just like really focus on the detailization. I just like more create the effect of realism. Step away, you're like, wow, that looks like picture, but then you look closer, like, oh, that's actually like you can see that um, the brush effect, you know, like that is done with the brush. I guess it depends on the style and preference and the patience too. I think people who do hyperrealism, they just have OCD and that's good for them. Okay, we won. We did it. You mean Gagey? Team Gagey? Yeah, we did. We definitely did. Okay. Did you choose to go to that school for art, or did people notice you were good at it and encourage you to follow what you well, that's one thing that my parents played a role. Like my mom, I would say, they would always try to put us in different, like in different, how you call that? Not the school, but different practices. And they were well, they just noticed that I'm good at it. And I think when my mom suggested that, neither my grandma or my father refused. They were like, yeah, that's one thing that keto is definitely seems to be good at. So they put me there. It was opposite regarding so my grandma still hates boxing and me being related to it. My father though, quite proud, but still being a little bit like, ah, be careful and this and that. My mother always encouraging, but I think she's also a little bit so when it comes to sports, their attitude has been more like, eh, maybe you shouldn't do that. It's kind of cool, but in the art, yeah, it's just and I was small enough, right? I believe parents needs to encourage and even push sometimes their kids to do things. Obviously, if the kid hates doing something, okay, let's try something else. But you know, when we have kids, me and my husband, definitely will try to encourage my kids to do both, do something that is physical, like gymnastics, dancing, boxing, like everything, everything I can teach them, even if they don't follow it professionally, because that's going to be good for them. But also try to do some arts. And well, I would do that. They're probably going to copy me, and they're going to just try to pursue. So you kind of need to set example too. It's a little bit weird when your parents don't do it and they want you to do it. It almost feels like they're unrealized dreams, and they just projecting that on you. But then when they do it themselves, and you can see them punching bag and training hard, or you can see them creating art or singing or doing math or whatever, they want to copy you. They want to do what you're doing. So yeah, I think. But I'm glad. I'm glad to whatever put in, and I've been forced sometimes to do things. I'm glad. I'm grateful for that. Okay, beautiful and talented. Thank you. Okay, here we continue. Even though this side is dark, and like in the picture it might be completely blacked out, I'm still gonna go lighter, add some lighter raining like dots, because I don't want it to become flat. Okay, that shadow it has to feel like it has the volume. Okay, so sure, yeah, darkest side's gonna go like, it's actually better visible from here, but then we need to blend in a little bit. Try to it's important to make sure that not deceived by the light, because the colors reflect, and if you really want to see the how dark is the shade, especially when it's black, then you need to look from different angles. This looks acceptable. It's actually not bad. Put graining on the lower eyelid again. Even if it's black in the picture, I'm making sure that it has a little bit of signs of some texture here. Okay, more graining here. Now I'm just going like blindly, just doing a little bit of texture, because I can always add up. And you see, I can mix, add up lighter spots, and it just looks good when it comes to the skin definition and skin texture. Okay, what do we have here? Actually, I'm hearing more. But it's the mix of whatever Eastern Europe, uh, Caucasian, and generic English. I think. All right. I'm gonna look at the reference more just to see how it goes. Oops. Okay, this is quite dark too, so nothing wrong with. I can use the graining technique and then apply more lights, but yeah, that can be literally darker up until the point it has to get lighter. This is actually quite gonna work. I'm gonna add some lights here, but also do like a smooth transition with the graining. Set up the darks, and you're gonna see. So now it's rough. There is no transition. There's no. It looks ugly. It looks like a mustache now. Wait until I fix it. Okay, what do we have here? Like this is also dark. Like this side, for example. Literally, it's black. You can just use like a straight strokes to show that line, even if it's gonna be black. you can differ the borders via different brushing directions. So now I'm just emphasizing that um, the jawline basically, and I'm just gonna no graining here. I'm just gonna keep lining with it like this. See? Okay. Already can start moving for to use the graining here. This is quite light. There's quite sharp transition here, but if we break it down to the details, we need to make sure that it's still smooth at the transiting line. This. Okay. This has to be darker too. Just gonna emphasize it a little bit, but I'm not gonna go full in with black here because I still need to shape leaves properly. So I need to work on leaves separately. Here I go, mixing it up like nicely. I just put a little bit of lay over, so it helps me to transit those areas like right here. Okay. So let's link up the upper part and create that round effect here. See, we already went a little bit lighter, a little bit mixed with the white. And that's the good about the white. You can always tame it down. You have to be perfect. It's not the lightest spot, that's why I'm mixing more in. This has to be the lightest, so that's how we're gonna do it. It doesn't mean that needs to be go too dark. We need to create this nice transition. It's also when you do more graining, basically applying more shadows, right? Uh, sorry, more layers of the paint, and that means that it reflects better. So you don't have that many. You cover the layer after layer, and it's more of the defined color effect. You know what I mean? So it's different from the water paints technique, for example, which I actually never did. I skipped that part in the school. I hated what I did the graphic training, like with the pencils and stuff and charcoal, but then we had the separate. Here it goes darker. It was unified with the graphics class, and I'll leave it here for now like this. But yeah, you see the point, right? There we go. it darker. If it goes too light, no problem. It's easy to make it darker. Okay. Uh, Let me just look at it from the side and look at the chat in the meantime. My husband is in the chat, by the way. And let me show you the effect. So you see now, it's getting more there, even though the part is not worked yet. I'm gonna work on it with a sponge, but I just prefer to go on the skin. And you see that graininess, like, except maybe like this part, it's already pretty much setting in. So let me just put it here again. You're more like a boxer than MMA boxer because I'm doing boxing, and that's what I want to. That I would fight in the boxing, not MMA. Why train professional? Really? I'll just kind of show that it's possible. Also, don't get me wrong. There are fighters who definitely do it because of the poverty. They're the ones that just want to do it full time. But there are actually many people who do a lot of other things. Me, for example, I do YouTube. I do personal coaching for years, and like a lifestyle optimization and training, and like habit implementing coaching. And I do art, and I'm willing to do more of the art as well. And me and my husband travel, and we're not rich, but we are doing okay. We're stable. We created that stability for ourselves, so we can move on from there and see how things go. We connect with people, we network, and finding is more for me. It's a few things. It's a little bit of challenge. I think it's important for self growth to put yourself in the situation. Everyone who steps on the ring, doesn't matter they do what they do, it is a challenge. And I think it really develops that different part of the brain for that helps to become more resilient, more focused, adapt more of the warrior mentality. It's also a form of art. To me, boxing, MMA as well, but I'm not that specialized in MMA. I watch it, I like it, I can break it down to a certain extent, but it's not what I'm doing. However, boxing, it is form of art to me, and that's how I approach it. That's how I approach my trainings as well. And the balance between conditioning, physicality, but also being able to like create the piece of art, right? Well, you can see that where that comes from, right? So yeah, that's the reason. It doesn't mean I'm not saying that, oh, I'm gonna do it full time now. I'm fully aware of the CTE, brain damage. That's one of the things I'm talking about my channel. The long term health, not only for regular people but for the athletes. I'm talking about the smarter approach to sparring and preparation. Basically, avoiding heavy sparrings at all and do a task oriented work, because building patterns and for your brain to process that information works a little bit differently than just putting yourself there and working through the willpower and getting a lot of damage, especially on trainings. That doesn't really work well. So this is kind of all entangled, and that's what the channel is about. Stay around if you're interested. Hi, Brazil. Hello, husband. Hello, everyone. Which one? The husband. The husband is Aidan Chris with the Nike sign, a black Nike sign on the white background. That's my husband. Okay, so okay, a little bit more graining. I'm gonna finish that basis, like a basic graining here, a little bit more shadows too, as well. And then I'm gonna work on the eye. I'm definitely doing that today. I might skip the lips, might not do it at this point, but in this live stream at least. But one thing I'm sure of, this part is going to be ended, and then it's going to be a little bit like nose and the lip detailization, and then working everything around. So here, this section, definitely the front side of the helmet. It's not even nearly done. There's going to be ornaments to make it realistic, more effective. With the sword, that has to again be some changes, but I already applied some of the texture like with a knife. I already did that, so the sword is gonna get more defined, but not too much. I think this part I might not touch much. Hair also, it's good blueprint. I'm gonna add just some more detailization. That's it. So it's just more has more details, so it's more realistic. That's it. Okay. Is anything good with the? I'm looking at the chat a little bit, and it's a little bit freezing up. Is it? Let's see. Okay, now it works. Okay, a little bit more grainy. Just start doing that kind of work a little bit earlier, especially here in the rooftop, because the sun is getting a little bit too aggressive. But I'll manage to do some of the stuff. More texture, more graining, a little bit more shadows. Here it has to be darker, so there's no point of. Sometimes you shouldn't go too soft. Just apply that black color when you're sure that that's how it's supposed to be. Okay. Then transiting using that same graining technique makes it nice and smooth and basically becomes. This has to be darker, by the way. At least in the picture, as I said, I'm not going too dark on this part, but it's nice. It's gonna if you apply the dark areas correctly, it actually gonna give a better effect. So there's no point with hesitating and trying to keep it as light. This painting is generally a lot of dark shades, a lot of shadows, but also a lot of white. Like this area, this side is like wider and more pronounced. Yeah, it's not bad. Literally using black here. Here I can shade it out. It also mixes with the already applied gray, white colors, and it just makes a good transition. Okay, so this is the tricky area here. I'm not gonna work too much close to the. I'm not gonna work too close to the lips yet because I still want to. It's getting harder to see too because this light is coming up and you literally can see it's also quite this side is light up because of the sun. Okay, so let me look at the reference or the chat before. The kids playing in the background, the bird chirping, the wild painting sounds like the guys leaving the peace place. What paint are you using? Yeah, it's actually, that's what I like. The trunk and that specific area in the north part, that's very simple life. Very simple. The paintings are the oil paintings. I haven't done it in a while, and yeah, I decided to do black and white because it's easy re-entry. It's easier. No matter who says what, it's easier to do with to paint with black and white. But those are oils, and I find oils are the best. Yeah, you have acrylic paints, which are quite they're okay, but when it's the color depth and that reflection, even after it gets dry, if you apply it correctly, that how you call that the light, the light reflection. Oil paintings are oil paintings are the best. Okay, guys, can you hear me properly? Do you want to decorate the mask? Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's just gonna I'm probably gonna do that in the end because it takes quite a work. So I'm just starting from the face because it just feels better. You know, it feels more you already the progress is faster. Yeah, just my other one didn't work, the internet, but that's okay. Just yeah, I'm gonna come here and look at the chat through this angle. It's actually quite cool the way the light is put it because this is exactly the angle where the light is coming from in the painting originally. So it's quite cool to see how it really goes there. Now it's like really exaggerated, and I like it. So uh, well, I'm gonna take the chance and just look at the reference. So here, actually, still quite dark. No light prominent areas at this point, and well, barely see things. Well, actually, well, now I moved the shade a little bit, and it's see that's why it's important to put it properly because here it actually has to be light, not like light, more like a grainy transitions. That's okay. It's very easy to fix. You just put it down like this, adding a little bit lighter paint. You see, all of a sudden, it already became lighter. Let's just grain it in like this. So I can always change that. I can always add up more. So no rush with that. This part is dark. Like in the painting, it really goes dark even around here, but I'm gonna be careful with that. So what I want is I want to create this nice effect of um, so this eye doesn't fade too much, but it makes sense. You know, it doesn't look out of the context. What we need here a little bit is we need to lighten this up. Before I'm gonna define the pupil because that has to be a similar size. That's one thing, that pupils have to be close. And here you can use a little bit of graining too. Nothing wrong with that. Because that's also gonna create gonna lay down well with this art specifically. Okay, let me look at the chat. Hey, congratulations, Chance, on 50 likes. Thank you, appreciate it. I think my training lives are though more efficient for the like views and likes and all that kind of stuff, but there's nothing wrong. I want to share more of my art too, but I'm gonna get back to training as well. So you're gonna see both of whatever art I'm gonna create and my training. You're gonna witness both from the next week, and I like how it goes. But I'm gonna do, actually I'm gonna do the full work with this I thing because it's just the timing, the light is just not good anymore. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just try to detailize this eye as much as I can now. Okay, more texture here. So the pupil, I mean. Okay, has to be a little bit lighter. And with the ice, you want to have like a little lines like this. That's the good technique to find the eye. And okay, look at the trick now. Taking, I'm gonna do the how you call it, the black thing in the eye. Okay, there we go. And okay, let's try to do last one. Again, I'm saying it might not still be done. Still takes some featuring, and I'm gonna get back to that eye even more. But just for now, to feel satisfied with the how it goes here. Yes, now size wise it's better. I'm gonna add the black line on the eye, the pupil. You can blend it in a little bit. Just clean this one up just very quickly. You can always just blend it in a little bit. Just create that little lines inside the eye. Absolutely a bit of that. But then again, take this back, more black paint, and just make sure that this is fully black. Just you have that. You can add some shadows here. And one last thing, and that's very basic, like a basic look. Other side. Well, those things can be changed. At this point, I think it already looks good. See, it looks better. Still needs more detailization, and there's no any hint on the eye. How you call that? The eyelashes yet on the right eye. However, you can see it's already getting there, and the effect, the look is quite precise. Nose looks quite big, which is nothing wrong with that, but that's also because it's not detailized yet. You know, it's too white. So here we're gonna work on the nose and the mouth later, and basically, yeah, that's how it is. That's how it's gonna be. I think I'm done by now for today, at least. So, well, we can sit down for a few more minutes and let me know if you have any questions. I will do lives like that next time. Patty versus like the UFC thing and the painting. I thought to put it together, but it's I think it's hard for people to understand when they come on the live. It's like, oh, what is she talking about? Is it like an art exposure, or is it commentary on the fight? So I'm gonna separate it, and I will try to actually get into live a little bit later and do that dedicated specifically to the fight night. Sorry, not the fight night. UFC 324. That was a few hours ago, and we can talk about that. But yeah, anyways, lesson learned. Let me look at the chat quickly. Yeah, I can see it, Red Hat. Your time. I have to run. See you next time again. Bye, everyone. Have a nice day. Yes, bye, and have a good day. Howdy, Red. Howdy, howdy. Welcome, Texans. Yeah, well, yeah, it's getting there. It's gonna be available for the sale too. We're gonna set up So what me and my husband were talking about regarding the art, we were talking about setting up the market, some sort of, or even a website. So all of the artwork that I make, except if it's gonna be on the order, gonna be available for sale. So yeah, that's how it works. However, right now I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it. I'm enjoying it. Let me show you a little bit where I am as well. It's beautiful Vietnam Nha Trang. It's a rooftop of the place where we're living. Not that many people come up here, so there's no biggie. The ocean right there, just a 200-meter walk away, and it's a beautiful place. So, yeah, I just want you to know, guys, I'm doing this because I love doing it. And I'm glad to be back to creating more of the art. Very glad to being back to it. So, what else can I say? I'm gonna wrap this live stream now, and I will separate now. I'm gonna definitely do my painting live streams regardless of the views, and my channel was hijacked for a while, and it's the new topic, so it might not be as popular. However, I'm still gonna do it, and still I'm gonna get back to my training from the next week. So uh, stay around for more boxing videos and boxing training videos, live streams. I mean, and also when it comes to the commentary on boxing or UFC events, I'm also gonna do that separate, and I'll try to do one today regarding the Pinglet versus Gagey fight and the main card generally. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll look at the chat one more time, and then I'm just gonna wrap it up. You can paint Gagey after this. Maybe, possibly. Well, I have ideas. I actually talked to a couple of, I talked to a couple of people who are in MMA actually, right? So when it comes to creating art like Gagey or anyone, any star of UFC, I would want to be able to at least send it as a gift. You know what I mean? Obviously, that would be a little bit more exposure, and that would, I do appreciate that, and that would be great. But that's also, it's like takes time and exposure, and I'll do that at some point. But I would love to do it for someone that I already know and I'm already talking to. Like for example, I'm talking a little bit on Instagram with Paul Reed. He's not a UFC fighter, but he's known for being starting his career very late, like at 35, retiring when he was 50. And he's a very inspirational person. So maybe I would talk to him and offer that, you know what, I'm gonna make that. That's gonna be a gift. I'll send it to you, and start from there, and then it just becomes more and more that the art I create actually will be I will be able to at least purchase it and send it as a gift, and they can have it. You know what I mean? So that is the original plan. But yeah, other than that, I'm also thinking about boxing slash MMA themed art, which is not specifically a person. It's not going to be based on any specific MMA fighter. However, it's going to be just the art, the concept of dynamic martial arts, and maybe a little bit of adding some like a mystery and some artistic point to it. So it becomes more of an art than just a portrait of a certain person. I'm thinking to make some sort of art like that. I like black and white. I'm going to do a lot of that. But I'm also going to try to add some other colors. And yeah, just keep creating art. Anyways, that's it. That's basically it. Okay, I love both sports and art too, and really appreciate the beautiful work you do. To bless you. Thank you very much, warrior lady. Ah, you gotta. It's a samurai principle. Samurais would do a brutal training, but they also would spend a lot of time on the graceful studies, like art and painting and calligraphy and that kind of stuff. Just no painting Peter Yan. Yeah, no, no way. Not doing that. Eliard, your art is very nice. My husband is saying that. I'll check it out after. So, yeah, anyway, I love people who are creating art. Okay. Hi, Dance. Good to have you here. Eliart. Yeah, well, keep up the great work. Sometimes people think that in the AI period, AI age, it's like, artists, but that's the thing. Maybe digital art is suffering a little bit, but art is art, and there is always going to be need for human art. That is, and I think canvas and sculpting and things like that, like wood carving, is one of the fields that's just going to keep being there. So yeah, guys, keep creating art. That message is specifically for artists. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much. I gotta wrap it up now, and yeah, see you in the next one. Ciao.